Can the intricate tapestry of science truly be woven with the golden threads of belief in God? This is the question that John Lennox, the renowned Irish mathematician and Christian apologist, passionately addresses in his eloquent presentation at the Oxford Union. Lennox initiates his discourse with a striking assertion. The choice between God and science is not only misleading but also fundamentally flawed. He likens this to choosing between Henry Ford or engineering to explain the existence of a car. These two concepts, he insists, are not mutually exclusive, but rather complementary in nature. As he delves deeper into his argument, Lennox emphasizes that belief in God is not a blind leap into the abyss of irrationality, but rather a step onto solid ground, fortified by rational evidence. One such evidence he cites is the expectation of laws in nature, a fundamental pillar that has spurred the progression of science throughout the ages. Recalling the intellectual legacy of Isaac Newton, Lennox illustrates how the formulation of the law of gravity did not lead Newton to abandon God. Rather, Newton saw God as a complementary explanation. Newton did not claim that because he had mathematically described the motion of the planets, he had banished God from the universe. Instead, he saw the mathematical precision as evidence of a superintending creator. Lennox then turns his attention to the origins of morality, linking it to the roots of Judeo-Christian traditions. He invokes the thoughts of Jurgen Habermas, who acknowledges the ethical influence of these traditions. This, Lennox argues, further underscores the compatibility of science and belief in God. As he approaches his conclusion, Lennox underscores the transformative impact of Jesus Christ in his life. He contends that the resurrection is not just a historical event, but a cornerstone that underpins Christianity. This belief, Lennox maintains, is not contrary to science, but aligns with the rational enquiry upon which all scientific endeavor is based. In this riveting discourse, Lennox challenges the perceived dichotomy between faith and reason. He offers an integrated perspective that weaves together both elements in a compelling and cohesive narrative. Through his argument, Lennox invites us to envision a world where science and God are not adversaries on a battlefield, but allies in the quest for truth. Let's delve into the heart of the matter. The perceived conflict between God and science is a misconception often fueled by misunderstanding. This misunderstanding is encapsulated in the conflict thesis, a popular narrative that suggests an intrinsic and inevitable war between science and religion. Historically, this narrative found its footing during the 19th century, propagated by John William Draper and Andrew Dickson White. However, it's worth noting that this thesis has been largely debunked by contemporary historians of science. They argue that the conflict thesis is overly simplistic and doesn't accurately represent the nuanced relationship between science and religion throughout history. To further dispel this misconception, let's consider the numerous examples of religious scientists who have made significant contributions to their fields. For instance, we have Georges Lemaitre, the Belgian Catholic priest who proposed the Big Bang theory. Or take Francis Collins, the former director of the National Human Genome Research Institute, who led the Human Genome Project and is also a devout Christian. These examples underscore the fact that belief in God doesn't hinder scientific exploration, but can often fuel it. At the core of this supposed conflict, we find the role of worldview. It's not the facts of science that conflict with the belief in God, but rather how these facts are interpreted through different worldviews. A materialistic worldview might interpret the complexity and order of the universe as a product of random, unguided processes. In contrast, a theistic worldview might see the same evidence as indicative of a purposeful design. So it's clear the supposed war between science and God is not a battle of facts, but a clash of worldviews. As we continue to explore the relationship between science and God, let's keep this in mind and seek to understand rather than to dispute. Faith is not exclusive to religion. It plays a crucial role in the scientific process as well. Yes, you heard it right. When we think of faith, we typically associate it with religious belief, but it's also an integral part of the scientific method. Let's break it down. In science, faith is often manifested in the hypotheses and theories that scientists propose. When a scientist puts forth a hypothesis, they are expressing a faith of sorts in the validity of their proposed explanation, despite not having complete proof. They then design experiments to test their hypothesis, a process that requires faith in the consistency of natural laws. Scientists must believe that the laws of physics, chemistry, and biology don't arbitrarily change, allowing them to predict outcomes based on these laws. Moreover, many great scientists have expressed a deep faith in the intelligibility of the universe. They believe that the universe is designed in a way that can be understood through rational investigation. Albert Einstein once said, "The most incomprehensible thing about the universe is that it is comprehensible." This statement reflects a profound faith in the rational order and intelligibility of the cosmos, a faith that motivates scientists to explore and understand the universe. In essence, faith is not just a spiritual or religious concept, it's a fundamental part of the scientific process. It's the belief in the unproven, the trust in the consistency of natural laws, and the faith in the intelligibility of the universe that drives scientific discovery. So, faith, it seems, is an indispensable part of both science and religion. Let's not forget this as we continue our exploration of the relationship between God and science. Having navigated through the realms of faith, science, and their interplay, we now find ourselves at a crossroads of conclusion. It's clear that the dance between God and science is not only possible, but it is also a harmonious one. Let's recap. We started by exploring the compatibility of God and science, breaking down the misconception that these two entities are in conflict. We then delved into the role of faith in science, showing that faith is not just a spiritual or religious concept, but a fundamental part of the scientific process. Perhaps the most important takeaway from our exploration is the importance of dialogue and understanding in the God-science relationship. Instead of viewing science and religion as competing forces, we should see them as complementary aspects of our quest for truth. In the end, our journey here is not about proving one right and the other wrong. It's about fostering a deeper understanding of the complex and beautiful interplay between faith and science. We encourage you to continue exploring, continue questioning, and continue seeking truth in all its forms. As we conclude, let's remember Albert Einstein's words, "Science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind." As we continue our quest for truth, may we remember that science and God are partners in this dance, not opponents. Let this understanding guide us in our journey towards greater knowledge and wisdom.